just wait for a few people to see if anybody's going to join in live. Oops. Hello, hello, hello. So, welcome to day 1 of the September sew along. So this month we're going to be looking basically all of the patterns that are bum coverings. So you've got the panel undies, you've got the lucky undies, you've got the lucky booty shorts, the boxer wear, and the kids undies as well. If there are other undie patterns that you want to have a look at as well, if we've still got time at the end of the month, then I'm more than happy to have a look at the other ones as well. So for those of you who are new to sew-alongs or to rad sew-alongs, I'm going to be... Hi Milo. You'll get to meet most of the cats eventually. This is Milo. He thinks it's really funny that I'm talking to myself, don't you? So please feel free to talk along with us. So we're going to start off with panel undies this week. Yes, I know. Do you want a pair of pants? Right, okay. So we'll look at the panel undies. So today all we're going to do is have a look at the pattern. We're going to have a look at measuring. We're going to have a look at things that you will need. We'll have a look at fabric choices and printing patterns as well. Hi Jennifer. Please say hello to me, people. I don't bite. I like talking to people. This is what the best thing is about doing these lives, is that you can talk to me, and obviously I can see your comments and everything, and if you've got any questions at any point, simply ask them and I will do my best to answer them. If you're watching on catch up, just use #replay and I will answer your comments as soon as I see them. Sorry it's gone a bit late this evening. See, it's daytime in the US. Little one is learning to go without the dummy at night. We've given it to the teacher to give to a new baby. So day 2 is gone so far. So let's have a look at, so obviously I have got my laptop here. I'm not going to be able to hold it up to you because I actually have broken my case. My case for my laptop is all sort of falling apart. I've broken the hinge. So my screen is not really doing fantastic at the moment. So for the panel undies, you might not see this very well, but straight underneath the picture is the size chart. So it's really important, even if you've had this pattern a while, that you remeasure, because you never know whether you've changed size or not. I know from being on lockdown for 6.5 months with my little one, I've put weight on. So I'll just go through remeasuring, and then we'll talk about the styles and choosing styles and everything as well. So for this, all you simply need to do is measure your hips. Milo, you're not being very helpful tonight. I'm just going to grab the tape measure. Of course it won't unroll. Mind your butt. Good boy. So for your hips, obviously it's going to be the widest part of your body. So for me it's going to be here. And you want to make sure that you are getting, a decent amount of your bum in there as well. Now this is in inches, so you just want to measure around, and where that meets, obviously you want to then just find out where you are on the pattern. So for me, I measure at a 54, so I can see that is just in a 2X. So what I will probably do, because 2X starts at 53, what I will probably do is see how they fit, but leave about an inch gap on the waistband. So if I feel that they're a bit too loose, then what I can do is I can just thread some elastic through it just to help me keep them up a bit more. So, any questions on measuring? So for the panel undies, it is really simple. It is just one measurement. What I would say is, if you are just in a size, so if I'd measured at 53, I would probably size down to a 1X, as opposed to using a 2X, just because you've still got quite a bit in them. With these, your fabric that you're going to be wanting to look at is any fabric that's got a 50% stretch as well. Now you do want to make sure that it's got a good recovery as well. So for things like this, I wouldn't use French terry, just because I don't find that it's got that great a stretch. So I would use cotton lycras, swim fabrics, double brush poly. You can use bamboo lycra as well. You just got to be a bit wary that obviously it's a bit more slippery to work with, same as swim. But if you're just wearing it as like your everyday panel undies, then I would just go with cotton lycra. Obviously you can use any cotton lycra, but it's best to use a 95% cotton, 5% lycra. So if you've got questions about fabric choices though, like, you can always send me a comment and I will, do my best to say whether or not I have used something similar. I mean, most of my panel undies, most of my underwear actually that I have made has been either cotton lycra or double brush poly. These are a pair that I haven't quite finished yet. I'll just cover that up because it's a bit not safe for work. But that's just a cotton lycra pair. Obviously I've just not finished putting bands on that one yet. But yeah, I mean, most of your fabrics, you want a decent amount of stretch in them, and same with your waistbands as well. You still want a decent amount of stretch in those. In terms of styles for this pattern, hi Kelly, there's 3 different rises. That's 4. 3 different rises that you can do for these. So there is hipster, which quite literally sits very low down and it sits on your hips. You've got you've got hipster that sits down here, you've got mid-rise, and then you've got high-rise, which is literally around about your belly button. It's just a bit lower for your belly button. But so you've got hipster, mid, and high. So obviously you've got 3 different rises for these ones. And then you've got just the normal brief rise for around your bum as well. When we go into having a look at the Lucky undies and the Lucky booty shorts, the Lucky booties, and things like that, they have got a lot more different options. So if you want to do things like thongs, or more of a sort of a bikini style, more of a full coverage, or even a shorty coverage, those will be in with the Luckies. So there's a few more options still to come. We started off with the panels because everybody wanted to do the panels more. So I thought, right, that's fine. Panels are easier. We'll go straight down with panels. They can be the ones that people like to go for most, because obviously you can get all sorts of funky panels, panty panels. I'm trying to think what I've got. I have got a panel that I pulled out actually to use. I've had this panel for ages. It was from a UK company called 42 Custom, and it simply says, it was a Game of Thrones style one, and it says, "I am the god of tits and wine." So I'm going to be using this to show you how you can use undie panels to get use for the for the panel undies. So obviously you would use this bit here as the back or the front, whichever you can get it out of. Usually I use it for the bum, and then you use the rest of it for the front. Sometimes you, obviously the smaller sizes, you can generally get the whole lot out of one of these, but for the bigger sizes I would usually use a contrast for the sides, and then I might use like some of this for the liner as well. There are a couple of different options for the leg bands as well as the waistbands as well, so I did grab some out to show you. So obviously you've got standard cotton lycra bands that you can use. That's just some rainbow stripe stuff that I had, that you can just use for bands, and then obviously I just haven't put the bands on the legs yet. Sometimes I like not having bands on the legs for those days where I just don't want to have that visible panty line. How have I done this? You can use fold over elastic as well, so it literally folds over. So you would sew. Excuse me, button moon ones. So you would sandwich your edge in the cotton, in the fold over elastic. So you would sandwich it in there. So you've got fold over elastic. You can get it in so many different colours from so many different haberdashery stores. And you can also get lingerie elastic as well. This is just some really soft lingerie elastic I bought. I bought this originally to do some really soft sports bra straps with, for when I was making the Aurora bralette. But you can use any elastic. I mean, I just bought that because I really liked the softness of it. You can use, let's see if I can get this is all taped up. You can use peacock edge. Sorry, casting a shadow on it now. So you can use peacock edge elastic. There's so many different types of elastics that you can use. What I would suggest is finding what you're happy with and going with that. For the sew along, I'm going to be doing bands, just simply because I know a lot of people struggle with bands. So what I thought I would do again is, I know we did bands for the 25k bralette, but I thought I'd do bands again for the undies, and then for some of the others, then maybe we'll do fold over elastic or lingerie elastic as well. So any questions on elastics or other notions, you can use clear elastic as well if you want to do the booty ruching. That is completely a personal preference thing. If you've got a personal preference for doing the booty ruching, or you've got a partner that quite likes ruched underwear and that, or you're making it for a friend or family or whatever that would like that, then you know we can do that as well. So it's completely up to you. I mean, the clear elastic that I use is the same as my swim elastic. So she literally just sew a strip of this stretched out down the butt of it, and it pulls it in. But again, we can come back to doing, I can do little mini videos on how to do things like that if people are interested. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock you. It's just where all my notions and potions are. So for looking at the pattern, obviously it's really self-explanatory. It's really easy to go through. What I will do is I will go through it step by step. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to print it off, and then obviously I'm going to tape and cut it to the right size in. I'll show you obviously how to just select the correct layers and everything all again, for those who missed out on seeing the tips that will be posted up for the 25k bra. If you want me to sit and tape the pattern and do that with you tonight, I'm more than happy to. But I do ask you to at least talk to me, so I'm not just talking to myself. There are only 8 pages to print off for this, and it is very, very simple to put together. So page 1, 5 and a bit of 2 is going to be the back. Page 2, 6, a bit of 3 and 7 are the sides. Page 3 is the liner, and page 4, a little bit of 3 and 8 are your front as well. So there is only 4 pattern pieces for this. So there's the back, the front, the sides and the liner. It is a 1/2 inch seam allowance again, as with all rad patterns, and with this one we will be working with a fabric that is at least 50% stretch. Now you can do it on the overlocker or serger, or you can do it on a domestic. You will need to use the domestic to just stitch down the liner. Actually, I've not stitched it down on this one so far. So the only bit, if you are using it on a serger, the only bit you will need to do is to do it on a domestic, is just sew this liner down if you want to. If not, you can just simply clip it or pin it in place until we add the leg bands or the leg elastic, and that will hold it down anyway. It's just whether or not you want this like slightly flappy bit here. I always tend to stitch mine down. That's just personal preference. So this is, if you haven't already printed that and had a look at the pattern, so this is the shape of the side pieces, and that is the shape of the back piece, the other side piece and the front piece, and then obviously your liner. I'm trying to do everything mirror wise and it's not working. It's just that piece there, and then obviously you just get, and then you just put your, and we'll just be putting bands on and leg bands. So this is actually, I'm trying to think what I cut out now. I think this is the high rise. So I know, Kelly, you were asking about whereabouts it comes up to. So, not that you need to see me fat belly, but Kelly, that's about roughly where it comes up to in belly button for high rise. I did start pre-making a pair for you, so I could show you sort of what rise you wanted, because I know obviously you wanted them postpartum. So let me know if you think high rise is the option that you're going to want, and I'll carry on with some for you. It won't be that pair because I'm keeping that pair, but I wanted to double check with you, Kelly. Right, so going through obviously the pattern, the pattern is very self-explanatory. So it first goes through the basics of attaching all the pieces in the right order. Then you can go for, it goes through lingerie elastic, and then it goes through lingerie elastic with the elastic facing out. And then you've got lingerie elastic facing body, and then it goes through fold over elastic, 2-step process, fold over elastic, 1-step process, and then obviously bands as well. So it is really self-explanatory. So for printing the panel undies, sorry, I'm so used to calling it panties because I'm British. We call these trousers. These are not pants, these are trousers. But I have to remember when I'm live, majority of people call them pants. So undies. So you may or may not see this. Excuse the broken screen. So on this side here, I've already opened it out, but if you haven't already got layers, so there is the third little icon down here. This is where you need to click to select your layer. So instead of printing off every single size, unless you are somebody that wants to print all 8 pages off in every single size and you want to trace off the right size. So say you're making these for business, or say that you've got several people to make them for in several different sizes, I would suggest just simply selecting your size that you want to print off. Kelly, I would probably suggest to you to print all of the sizes and then trace them off, because if you're going to be making pre and postpartum, you may be different sizes. So I'm just simply going to deselect all of them except that keep layers on and the size that I want to print off. So I'm just simply going to unselect the sizes around 9, and you want to make sure then that you still keep this, I need to tape this screen up, keep this layer on, and then obviously my size is here. So that's all I'm going to do is print those off. Now with obviously undies, there's not a major amount of pages to print, so I'm just simply going to plug it into my printer and print all of them, because there's only 8 pages. If obviously you're going on a massive undie sewing fest and you know you want to print all the layers off, because like I said, you've got several people wanting to have some undies off you, then print them all. I've already got some people asking to make them some lucky undies and lucky booty shorts, so I will be printing off all the layers for those ones. Has anybody got any questions at this point? Or shall I just go and print it and come back and answer questions? Let's just do that. Let's just carefully set this in my printer. Not enough paper. I don't know why I thought sticking my printer all the way up here was a great idea. Right, that's printing. Has anybody got any questions? I can see you watching, but nobody wants to talk. Is that going to print? Hold on. Why did I stick this up here? I can't reach it. Oh, okay. colour cartridge in here. Oh, two would work, I suppose. I don't know why I've stuck my printer up on the very top. Jennifer, to answer your private question, yes. I would print multiple sizes if you're sewing for multiple people, yes. There's quite a few reasons why you would print multiple sizes. For instance, if you are sewing as a business, so obviously you've got a wide range of people that you would be sewing for. If you are printing for multiple households, so say you've got a couple of adult sizes that you need to print for. The other reason why you could print multiple sizes is for maternity, so pre and postnatal, antenatal, yeah, during and after pregnancies. I know I changed sizes not just during lockdown but during pregnancies as well. That we do have for maternity as well. I know that Kelly, we've been talking about a couple of things anyway. There is the lucky, words have escaped me today, I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of a fibro flare today. There is a lucky maternity add-on or a maternity version as well. So if you do know people that are pregnant or trying, or even just postpartum, for instance, I had a C-section with my son, so I was unable to wear a lot of the normal sort of undie patterns for quite some time. So I mean, I wasn't even sewing at this point. Otherwise, coincidentally, actually, Panels was my first PDF pattern that I ever bought, which is why it's quite nice that we're sewing this one. But yeah, there is a maternity version of the Luckies as well, which is really good as well for those who have had to have C-sections or emergency or planned as well, because it just gives them that bit higher rise. But I mean, with the high rise of the panels, like I said, they do come up to about your belly button, so they are quite nice fitting for pregnancies and stuff. So yeah, I mean, there are literally a whole range of reasons why you would probably print off all sizes and then just trace them. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you do decide to just print 8 pages, if you're happy that that person is the same size as they've always been. I mean, I store my patterns in plastic popper wallets, and I've got some patterns that, let's see what that one is. So, for instance, this is my Sew Over It Alls pattern. This is what I'm making at the moment for a strike. And I've just simply put on there, obviously, what the pattern is, and that it is, I don't know if you can see it, for me, and what size it is, and then obviously who the company's by. So, that's a pattern that I'm using at the moment for some strikes that I cannot wait to show you guys. No, all sorry, it's the British in me. I use guys and dude as a slang mainly when I'm talking to my son and his friends, and as much as I try to get out of it, I forget sometimes, because he calls all his mates, all the guys, him and his little boys, which is really quite cute. But we are, I mean, he's only 4 at the end of this month, but he's already really good with his pronouns and inclusive stuff. He already knows that mummy's a person, I'm not a girl and I'm not a boy, and he already knows that he's a boy and he's a him, but he knows that mummy's a person and I'm a they. So it's quite cute that already, you know, he's already learning that sort of stuff, which is really nice. Oh, I have a printer page. Milo's dead on the bed. Right, so, oh, I've knocked you again, sorry. I need to pick up some more tape, apparently. So I don't know how everybody else tapes, glues, windows, all their pages, but I tend to find that because I'm usually working with a very small space, because sitting on the floor hurts me quite a lot, I actually cut the pieces out and then tape them, instead of taping the whole pattern together, because I can't work with that much space. So just to show you, all I've done, page 1, I've just trimmed that out, so I've still got the border at the side and the bottom. Put that over there. And page 2, because there's 2 bits on here, there's the extra bit for this and then there's the next piece. So I'm just going to cut that bit out. And then all I do is just trim this very tiny bit off here, because I'm using UK A4 paper. This is just how I have to do it. Now obviously some of y'all that are in you know, different parts of everywhere, you all print things off at different sizes. I've just found that this is the way that works for me personally, because I still have those funny trim borders, and then I just stick a bit of tape on it. So I just add that bit on there. I mean, if people have got questions that you don't want to ask publicly, you can PM me. I am happy to answer live still. Obviously I won't put out, you know, the whole public answer. I am quite happy to sort of answer disguised, but still to give you the answer that you need. So if you don't feel like you can post a question publicly, please, 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 just send me a message and I am more than happy to answer. Sometimes it doesn't come through straight away because it goes into my requests, but I will be checking them. So I am more than happy to answer any question. Obviously, as long as it's still kind of pattern related. I mean, I will probably answer other questions, like what colour hair am I going to do next. I was thinking maybe purple and blue, not sure yet. I might have to have a look to see what isn't going to clash horribly with my next lot of strikes. Probably might work actually with my next lot of strikes. But yeah, seriously, if you've got any questions about anything, give me a message. I'm more than happy to answer. I'm just cutting this pattern out now while I'm talking to you. So I'm just cutting out the liner piece at the moment. What's that piece? Oh, I need to get another folder. That folder? No, that folder's got something in it. The green one, that'll do. Just so I don't lose these pieces. How does everybody else store their patterns? I'd love to know how everybody else stores their patterns. How many people have we got that are going to be sewing for themselves? And how many people are going to be sewing for quite a few people? Did I just cut that bit off of something? Did I need that bit? No, I just cut that off there. I'm not with it today, I'm telling you. It's been one of those days. When I literally did the school run this morning, I got home and I just sat down on the sofa with Milo and wasted about half an hour. I wasn't doing anything, I was just sat there. But he enjoyed the cuddle, so that was all that mattered. So tomorrow we will be cutting out fabric. To be fair, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. What's the time? 9 o'clock. Kelly, are you still on? Okay, so it's not actually showing me comments. My accent, Catherine, is very muxed up. Scuba fabric. I would say yes, as long as it has at least 50% stretch. Swim is definitely okay. I've made a couple of pairs in swim and it's so nice. And yes, these are the panel panties, yes. if you're doing the booty shorts, I can apply the same tips for those. Yes, you can. Absolutely all the same. So, yeah, for some reason it's not showing me actual comments on here. Why is it not showing me comments on here? This is why I have two phones. Yeah, so the tips for cutting the patterns and that, absolutely, yes, both go for actually all of the patterns that we'll be doing. Scuba, I've not really done a lot with scuba, but I've only really worked with scuba crepe, and to be fair, I'm just thinking, I don't have I do have some scuba. Yeah, I would probably say though, because I would test your scuba. My scuba's only 2-way stretch. Ideally you'd want it 4-way stretch. So see whether it does stretch in both ways. So obviously mine has got a lot more stretch, very minimal stretch in that way. So yeah, definitely make sure that it has got 4-way stretch, at least 50%. That's the only thing I'd really say to check. I really hope that the Angry React is a mistake. I've just seen. Don't bother me. But yes, I would definitely say make sure that in the, because you do want, it does say on the pattern, where's it gone? Horizontal stretch at least 50%, but also grain line, it does say at least 50%. So if you're going to use something like scuba, I would definitely say just double check that it has got 50% in both, and then it should work. I will double check with Stephanie whether it will work, but I can't see any reason it wouldn't. I would just obviously test it and see. I mean, it's the only scuba I've actually got is that. I don't think any of my other scubas have got big enough piece to, I think I've only got scraps left of scubas. I mean, you can even use, yeah, I mean, see, even like dance stuff, as long as it's got 50% in both, I mean, that doesn't have a great deal vertically, but horizontally, I mean, any of these sorts of fabrics that have got at least 50% would. To check whether you have got 50% stretch, take a ruler, measure out, I always go by 2s, so measure out 2 inches of it. If it stretches to 3 inches, you know that it's got 50% stretch, and do that for both ways. That is honestly the easiest way you can do it. So if you go for like a 2-inch piece or a 4-inch piece, or those who use metric system, 4 centimeters if it stretches to 6 centimeters, etc. It doesn't matter what's like measurements you use, as long as obviously it still stretches the same. Yeah, I second guessed myself then, I don't know why. But yeah, as long as it's got yeah, probably, Anna, probably. I mean, it does say on the pattern, to be fair, 50% stretch. And most knit patterns do have to be 50% stretch. I mean, there's only very few patterns I've ever really worked with that are stretch knit fabrics, patterns that aren't 50%. And I own a lot of patterns. But I have serious issues. I just, as soon as I see a sale on, I buy patterns. Or as soon as it's a new release, I buy it. And I really should start doing that thing where, like, I don't buy anymore unless I've sewn one of everything. But I just like pretty things. That's why I have a huge fabric stash. That's why I have a huge pattern stash. I mean, I haven't even really chosen a lot of the fabrics so far for what I'm going to be sewing up with everybody. I just know that I am using this panel finally to make myself some panel undies. I've already got requests from a couple of friends that know that this is what I'm going to be doing this week, and they're just like, so you can make pants, right? And I'm like, yes. Pants, undies. And they're like, fancy making me some? Well, I suppose I could. It all depends if you send me your actual sizes over and not just your off-the-rack sizes, because that's not how I work. Because bodged up that bit, so I think. Because guaranteed I'm going to end up with that person that's giving me that they are a size UK 12 in one store, but actually they're just a size 12 in one store. They're not going to tell me that actually that is the smallest that they range, because I don't know if like it's the same in the US or anywhere else, but in the UK, if you're a size, say a size, like for instance, I'm a size about 20 at the moment, but like I work out as about a 20 in one store and like a 24 in Primark, but I rarely ever buy from Primark anymore because I just given up with their make-believe sizes. But then I can be like a size 16 in some other random places, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to stick with where I know I am that size, and that is when I make my own stuff. And you know what? I don't care what the label says. I don't care what the size says. If it fits and it's comfy, then it fits and it's comfy, and that's all that I worry about. I don't really worry about what the letters or numbers say on the pattern. All I care about is whether it's comfy. Right, I'm just about to tape my last piece together. Cut that bit wonky. I keep meaning to buy a second rotary cutter handle, because all the blades that are no longer sharp enough to cut fabric on are actually sharp enough to cut paper on, so that would like make my life so much easier. Right, so pattern pieces. You should have one crotch lining. You should have one back piece with your 3 different cut lines on. So you've got your high rise, you've got your mid rise, and you've got your hipster on. Again, if you're cutting for multiple people, I would just simply fold down to where you want to make it for. So then obviously I've got hipster, mid, high, and then you can just keep them folded down to wherever. Save cutting those off and losing those if you want to make a different at another point. Just fold them down. You have your side. It's a bit more difficult to fold down these because obviously they're on a curve, but you can do it if you sort of like cut to about midpoint, and then you can just sort of fold it down. And again, cut to about midpoint, and then just fold it down, then it still stays attached. So this bit is the back, it is labelled there, and this bit is the front. Again, it is labelled there. You will not cut those bits off unless you decide that you're going to cut underneath the hipster line. And again, you've got the front piece, so again, just fold down your mid and your hipster. So that you could just revisit them if you need to as well. Now obviously if you have printed out all of the sizes, there is a size chart on here. This is on the back piece. So if you have printed it in colour, obviously they are all colour coded. If not, they are sort of variants of dashes. So if you want to, you know, obviously label up your traced pieces, then you can do. We are going to also just note on here as well, this is where you will add the clear elastic for booty ruching on your back piece as well. So it is worth like just putting on when you obviously cut out the pattern piece. Just for those who want to speed ahead, I would just sort of put a pin in your fabric here and down here, so you know that it's marked off then for when you want to add your booty ruching clear elastic. Let me just have a look, see if anybody has got any other comments. Right, so has that gone into enough detail for everyone on sizes, fabrics, options, cutting and taping? What else have we done? How I suck at putting a printer on a top shelf and yet being only 5'5". It's not my best idea. Elastics we've covered, bands we've covered. How tomorrow I will show when we cut how to use a panty panel if you've not already used one, or you want to buy some and you want to use them. Covered. I think I've covered everything. Anybody got any questions they want to ask me before I shoot off? I am currently watching Vikings on Amazon Prime, and I am in the middle of season 4, so I've just restarted from the mid-season finale. So the Lothbrocks are calling me. Hi Stephanie. Stephanie, while I see that you've popped up, can you use scuba for the panels? It's one that I've not really done a lot of work with before, but would love to have your insight there was a couple of questions about scuba. Obviously, I've said about making sure it's got at least 50% stretch, both her four-way, but I didn't know whether you have ever tried the panel undies with scuba. I don't know whether... Oh, hi Melissa. Yeah, no, do you know what? Honestly, I only know one other person outside of my family that has got Vaughan as a surname, and that is somebody who runs Rockstar Fabrics over in the UK. Beverly Vaughan. Absolutely lovely person. I get quite a lot of my fabric from Bev. But yeah, other than that, I very rarely see it. And I bet you have also had just about every pronunciation of it under the sun. Volgan, Volgan. It's like, no, it's Vaughan, like Thorn, which ironically is also another family name. But no, I don't think I've ever seen anybody else with it other than Beverly. Yeah, I don't even really see it without the A, but yeah, Beverly is also got an A. So there are a few of us. We're just over here. Yeah, mispronunciations, misspellings. So do you spell that like VORN? No. And you have to obviously go into the full phonetics of it, because they're still like VAUGHN? No, AN. What, VANUGH? Really? Really? Okay, if that's how you're going. But yeah, I very rarely see it, other than, yeah, my family. And even then, it's only really my dad, my dad, myself, and my son that have got it. Everybody else in the family has reverted to my mum's maiden name. But I stuck with my dad's, because I get on better with my dad. But yeah, we need to stick together because there is very few of us around. But Stephanie, if you're not still here and I don't see that you answer the scuba question, I'll ping you a PM and just double check with you, because I don't want to obviously advise that scuba is a yes or a no until obviously I've just double checked it with you. Brother just got married. Now tell me your sister-in-law, she's in for a while. Yeah, absolutely. I think my sister actually still uses it at work, but not on official documentation. But that's only because she actually doesn't like her mother-in-law. And after the fiasco that happened at the wedding a few years ago, I don't blame her. But yeah, I know that, you know, she will eventually take it when she comes to having kids and stuff like that. But other than that, she still likes to use it for work, because she works as a civil servant. But yeah, no, I don't really think I've ever seen it anywhere other than Beverly, and I still get asked several times, so are you and Bev like related? No, it's just coincidence that I happen to buy a lot of fabric from her. It's one of those things. I'm just looking around. I buy actually an awful lot of fabric from Bev, and I will always recommend her to UK sewists because, you know, she is brilliant. She is slowing down at the moment though, because she is expecting, so she's wanting to cut down on work taken. But yeah, Rachel, definitely check the stretch on your scuba. I'll send Stephanie a PM if she doesn't comment on here, and just double check with her, and then obviously I'll come back and comment for you as well. So has anybody who has sort of recently joined got any questions at all, or is everybody just happy to watch it when I post it in the group for people to watch back? I will also put it on my YouTube. I have linked my YouTube in the comments for the post I did earlier today. Did I do it earlier today? Yesterday? Earlier today, I think. So I will post it again in the comments for this. But it should be easy to search for. If you search for my logo, actually, is this. But it's so much fabric, so little time, with the spelling of sew is S-E-W. Find this little logo and you'll find me. I will just post the link in the comments anyway, but also if you want to follow the rest of the posts that we're doing for the rest of the month's sew-alongs, there is a hashtag that I am using for all of the posts. It is hashtag SMFSLT bum SAL. So it's obviously my business initials, then capital bum, capital SAL, for sew along. So if nobody's got any other questions or anything they want to say, I will... Yeah, no worries, Ashley. I mean, a lot of people have got, sometimes in the front pages, some pattern companies, they do post like a little test thing that you can do, but I've always used the 2-inch or the 2 centimetre rule, just because 2 is a nice easy number to divide by to get 50%. So 2 inches, if it stretches to 3 inches, it's got 50%. If it stretches to 3.5, it's got 75% stretch. Obviously, to 4 inches, it's got 100% stretch. You want anything with 50% stretch. So it's a nice easy one to remember, is just 2 inches to 3 inches, that's 50%. That's all you need. As long as it's got at least that, it'll make the perfect undies. I am going to, when you do the next video, please can you talk about stretch on elastic? I'm really struggling with it. I bought fold over elastic and I think it's too stretchy. So a pair of undies and they're a soggy mess. Right, okay, so yes, what I will do is, obviously I've got fold over elastic here, is, yeah, it does stretch quite a lot. What I will do is I will make up a pair. Actually, I can add this to that pair that is a weighting elastic. I will add some elastic onto them, and then I will be able to give you some more accurate information about fold over elastic. I'll try and work out some sort of a measurement system for you, Mina. So I hope that, you know, we'll be able to get that right. Is it just fold over elastic that you're having issues with, or is it all sorts? Because fold over elastic is quite stretchy. So for instance, 2 inches here, from the edge to here, 2 inches does stretch to about 4 inches. So it really... So 2 inches, yeah, to about 4 inches. I don't know if you can see it with the shine on my ruler. So 2 inches goes to about 4 inches there. So it's nearly 100% stretch. So I mean, it does really. Can't figure out how to sew it on, how to tension. It's like the bane of my existence. Right, what What stitch are you using to sew it on with? Are you using a standard zigzag stitch? Just attaching elastic onto underpants. Elastic does not hate you. To be honest, I don't think elastic hates any one person. I think elastic hates a lot of people. It's one of those things that does take some mastering. I know a lot of people have a hatred of swim elastic. Again, that can take a bit of tinkering with to get sort of right. I know when I first started saying, so if my fold over elastic stretches more than that, should I leave it? Yeah, I would say if it does stretch a super amount, then yeah, it's probably either that you would have to really test it out on some clothing. I mean, I get my fold over elastic from, where did I get this from? Little T's Haberdashery, which is a British company, and it is really good quality stuff. I will have a tinker with it and see whether I can come up with some sort of suggestions for you, even if I just do like a mini video on how to, you know, get the most out of your fold over elastics. If it really is that you're wanting some, you know, to lay flat, then have a look, see what other elastics you've got. I mean, there are plenty of different elastics. I mean, this one, you know, you've got flat elastics, you've got elastics everywhere now. You've got like the peacock elastics and stuff like that. I mean, these don't stretch as much because obviously this one's a bra elastic, so this one doesn't stretch anywhere near as much. You can get obviously different elastics. I've got a whole bundle of elastics here. I mean, I've even got like waistband elastics. We've got Toy Story one at the moment because we're making Little and Toy Story everything. He's gone mad for Toy Story. But yeah, I mean, have a play around with it. Stretch, you know, cut off a couple of inches, stretch it and recover it, stretch it and recover it, stretch it and recover it, and just sort of see how much that it stretches by. But don't just stretch it when it's like I've been doing. Try and just sew a little bit onto a piece of fabric, so onto a piece of knit, there's sort of the same weight that you're going to be using, and just sew it on with a zigzag stitch, and then obviously sew it, and then obviously stretch it, and then see how much that it stretches by. That will give you a really good indication of its stretch and its recovery, because if it doesn't recover well, then you're going to end up with all sorts of like wavy fabrics and stuff, a bit like when you top stitch things, but you accidentally stretch it as it does, and then it sort of ends up all wrinkly and all sticky outy. Sometimes, you know, that's what can happen, is if it doesn't have a really good recovery as well. Can you show what you cut out again? What the pattern piece is, Jennifer? Yeah, so pattern pieces that you should have your crotch piece. You should have your front with obviously the different heights on it. I'm really sorry, words have gone today. So obviously on your front piece you've got the high, which if you fold down, then you've got the mid. If you fold it over again, then you've got the hipster. And I will explain all about these extra little bits down the bottom here. Make sure you cut it out to the second one. I will explain how to do all of those as well. You have your back. Again, got an extra little bit down here. Leave it attached. So you've got your high rise, your mid rise, your low rise. Alright, and that just tucks nice and neat behind there. Same with both pieces. So you don't really have to cut those out and lose those. And then you've got your side. You will only have one side piece. That's because we kind of cut two of them. So this bit here, the longer side, is the back. You will not cut that piece off, letting you know that it is the back because it is underneath the hipster cut line. And you have the short half of it, which simply says front. And again, you will not cut that off, so you will not forget how this goes around. But it will only fit one way round anyway. So you'll have, obviously this bit, the front and the back are both cut on the fold. So you will have one front cut on the fold, one back cut on the fold, and two of these side pieces. And your little boot, which is your liner. Alright. I literally have all of the elastics too, Mina, so yes, I will do a mini little video tomorrow. Now, I'll probably do it tomorrow afternoon, when little un is busy, or I'll do it Wednesday morning when he's at school. Trying to think what I've got on tomorrow. I will do a mini video for you all about elastics, because yeah, they can be a pain. You're not in that on your own. I know a lot of people that hate elastics. I know that a lot of people really don't like sewing swim, not because the fabric is really slinky and everything, but because of sewing the elastic in. I know a lot of people don't like sewing swim elastic because sometimes it can be the bane. I mean, I'll show you. Actually, I've got, this is my falling out with elastic. This was a swim pattern. It is actually a rad pattern. I just completely fell out with swim elastic because it just didn't want to do anything I wanted it to do. So I completely fell out with it. So this was enclosing swim elastic in all of the seams to sew inside. And I did this great job and I sewed it all the way around, and I thought, yeah, I've done brilliantly at this. And all of this down here, this is all swim elastic, and I thought, yeah, I've done brilliantly at this. No, I completely fell out with it. I decided that I didn't like it at all, and it just didn't want to lay flat, and I just completely fell out with it. And do you know what? This pattern has been sat waiting for me, desperately asking for me to finish it for ages, but I don't want to unpick it. I don't want to, I just fell out with it because there's bits like this where it just didn't lie down like I wanted it to. So I completely fell out with it. And it has sat in here ever since. And again, this is, I mean, I completely fell out with this on quite a few bits because I just mucked it all up. I mean, so I'll show you. This was the newest swim pattern anyway. So obviously you can see, I don't know if it's going to focus. There you go. So it's got some of the swim elastic in there. You can just see the shine of it underneath there. I thought, yeah, I've done brilliantly at this. Turn it the right side round. And, you know, I'm going to pull this through. And then somehow I'm going to make these two really slinky layers, like, line up. But then it just, nothing lined up. So I fell out with it. And it has been in this folder ever since. One day I will go back and rescue it. Or I will start again. But you are not the only person that has falling out with elastic. So please do not worry about that. We will sort something out. But yeah, try the stretch of your elastic. Sew it on a little sample on a stretch stitch. I mean, I just use a zigzag stitch. And then, you know, then give it stretching and recovery, stretch and recovery, stretch and recovery. I'm doing it down here, not that you can see it. A couple of times to, you know, see where it's going to lay best. It is simply trial and error. If I can come up with some maths for you, I will. Has anybody got any other questions before I log off for the night? Jennifer, did that answer your question about the pattern pieces? It's really annoying that it doesn't show me the comments tonight. It just shows me people who are watching. For some reason, it's not actually showing me everything. Fab. So let me just go back. Standard zigzag and an overlock here. Yeah. Just making sure I've answered everybody that's comments that sent me some. Yes. Right. I am going to say goodnight, and I'm going to go and eat that pack of biscuits and snuggle with that squishmallow and maybe finish my strikes if I can get them from underneath Milo's butt. So tomorrow I will be aiming to go live about the same sort of time. So I will be trying to get on about 8 PM British summer time. Obviously I will upload this video to the group newsfeed. I will also upload it to my YouTube. For those of you who are joining late, I will be saving this video onto the newsfeed. Tonight all we have done is discuss fabrics, elastics, pattern pieces, sizes, styles. I have already cut and I've already printed the pattern and cut it while talking. So tomorrow we will do cutting fabric. So make sure that you have got your blades nice and sharp, whether you're using scissors, whether you're using rotary cutters, your pattern weights. I just use, this is the other thing what does everybody else use for pattern weights? I just bought like a whole load of these big heavy washers, which I made a little thing for. You can get similar ones to these from Etsy and all sorts of other places. But I just find that these are really, really good. So pattern weights, I always like to have a few clips handy, just to clip obviously the front and back, the fold to the fabric where it's on the fold so it doesn't shift. For those who's using rotary cutters, obviously mats, fabrics, and your pattern pieces, because obviously that would be the most helpful thing. So I will say goodnight to you all, and I'm going to get in bed, eat biscuits and snuggle, and I will see you all tomorrow. Night.